This will be our lecture on visualization. Quite simply, visualization is the ability to form mental images of something, something that you have seen before, something that you are looking at currently, that you are trying to imagine it from a different angle or a different orientation, or something that you've never seen. Maybe you have this fleeting thought in your mind or an image or two, and you're trying to change it into something that's real. So visualization is a skill that will allow you to do that. Visualization a lot of times is looking at potential, what could be, the possibilities that are there. Visualization is useful when we are thinking about brand new things that don't exist yet and how they might go together and what are the requirements and what are the restrictions or the constraints of a design that doesn't exist yet. So basically we're talking about opening up our mind's eye and seeing things that we don't see in front of us. So you can do this. This isn't some special power that only mystics in the Himalayas, monasteries develop. This is an ability that anyone can develop with a little bit of practice. Visualization also involves looking at things and seeing beyond what's there to what could be. Visualization allows somebody to take a list of requirements and maybe a list of restrictions and using the information in that list to generate ideas. In this case, maybe a client has certain requirements and the layout and design of this location has to meet those things. Well, in their mind's eye, as they're reading, they can start seeing what could be made, what the possibilities are. Visualization allows somebody to look at objects and imagine them going together or coming apart for that matter, seeing how things work when you don't actually have them maybe in front of you. Visualization allows us to design new parts that might connect or fit into existing parts. Imagine we had the top materials here and the bottom materials here, and we didn't have this yoke, this connector. A person who can visualize will see the potential and what's required in order to connect the lower assembly to the upper assembly. And they'll come up with a solution that looks probably something like this. Visualization allows us to take an idea and continue to develop it until we've got several ideas, or until we've taken a rough idea and have refined it to the best option. When we were looking at sketches, there was a lot of visualization involved in some of those old sketches I was showing you. For example, over here, Leonardo da Vinci never saw a helicopter during his life. He lived during the Middle Ages. So, of course, he had never seen a helicopter, but in his mind's eye, he could imagine a device that twisted like a corkscrew through the air. And he was able to record on paper those ideas, and now we can look back and say, wow, that's pretty amazing. He was able to figure something out. Not that it ever worked, but the fact he got it on paper and was able to visualize something new is amazing. Same thing with his armored vehicle. There were no tanks during Leonardo's time, but he visualized a chariot or a wagon that would be armor plated and that could move along. He was even able to imagine what it might look like underneath. And we see that in the sketch over here. Now the sketching that we did, I was trying to help you to develop your ability to look at things and then record as accurately as you could neat sketches of things you were looking at. And we've been sketching consistently since then. We've done a lot of sketching. So now we want to take it to the next level. The next level would be looking at an object and imagining what a 3D object is going to look like from multiple views and orientations. And we've been doing that, haven't we? Except now we want to go to the next level and give you problems that are a little bit more difficult. And then the idea is eventually we get to the point where we can have an idea or a thought in our mind and fully develop it out. Something that doesn't exist yet that we want to create. And we can imagine how the parts go together and what it's going to look like when it's done. We can visualize it in our mind, and then we can record it in a sketch and then eventually put it into a technical drawing. And then for products that exist that we might want to improve on or change the styling, change the aesthetic, right, that involves some visualization too. What could it look like if we changed it up and made it look nicer, made it look more attractive to customers? A person who has visualization skills will be able to look at a technical drawing, like these construction documents. And even though the documents are just 2D drawings, they can visualize what the finished product is going to look like when it's all done. In this case here, this machinist, if she's able to visualize off the drawings that she's working off of, then she'll know exactly what the parts are and how they're going to go together. And of course that aids the person that's making the parts as they are making them. So we want to get to the point where we can visualize things, where we can look at something and imagine it from different angles, where we can take a concept in our mind and record it on paper accurately. So to do so, we take some baby steps to get going, right? Because this is hard. This is much harder than drawing something that's right in front of you. So what is the front view for the given top view? If this is our top view, if we're looking at an object, can you imagine a 3D object that would have this as a top view? Okay, anything come to mind? Well, maybe that came to mind. Maybe you visualize this object, right? A cylinder with a hole going through it. So of course that does satisfy what we see here in the top view. But is that the only thing this could be? Is there any other thing it could be? Any other possibilities? Well, actually there are. How about this? Wouldn't that also meet the requirements of looking like two concentric circles from the top? See, so visualization lets us imagine what could be from what we see, and then we can proceed from there. Possible front views. What do you think some possible front views are? There's those two concentric circles again. Look at this. Every one of these has the potential. Every one of these different parts is the front view for that top view. It could be any of those things. And you know what? If you think that's a lot, guess what? There's more. It could be any of these cylindrical objects or objects with sphericity. It could be any of these objects. It could be any of these objects. It could be any of these objects. And hey, why not? Let's add some more. It could be any of those objects. So we're looking at 84 different possibilities, 84 different objects that could be generated off of a single top view like this. So visualization, if we can develop this part of our minds, it helps us to look at things, especially now that you have some technical training and you know what object lines are, and you know what hidden lines are, and you know what center lines are and center marks. We can start looking to see how things are made, how they go together, and what they would look like in these different visualized orientations. Okay, there's the whole gamut of them. Now, it's true that a lot of people have a hard time with visualization because it's not something that we normally do. In fact, there's this entire group of people, about 2% of the population, they're affected by this condition. Some people cannot visualize anything. They have no ability to visualize in their mind an image. So, if you're having difficulty though, don't think that this is you. For one thing, it only affects a very small part of the population. A lot of times it's brought on by a traumatic brain injury. And if you have aphantasia, it also is quite possible that you have inability to recall sounds, smells, or other sensations. And chances are you would have been aware of this long before you came to this class. So while it might be a little difficult to do visualization exercises, understand you're just flexing a totally different part of your brain, and you can develop this ability, barring the fact you have some very rare condition like this.